a blowout in Foxborough.
Largest margin of victory in the history of this great rivalry.
Tagging is Alou. Game 7 of the World Series is tied. Nagy Diaz. And Counsell punches it to the right side. Fernandez has it go through him. Bonilla will try for third. Ramirez up with it, but there's no play on him. Bonilla dives in. The 0-1 pitch. A liner off Nagy's glove into center field. The Florida Marlins have won the World Series.
Professional sports has been a staple for many people's lifestyles since the 1900s. Many have watched their favorite teams win a Super Bowl, a World Series, or a college championship. But many in recent memory haven't seen their team succeed. This documentary focuses on the fans of 3 different professional sports teams and what rooting for them means to them.
I'm Ben Blessington. Unfortunately, I've been a New York Jets fan since birth. And what do the Jets mean to me? They're a lifestyle. I mean, it's like I eat, breathe, sleep losing all the time.
I became an Oregon State fan when I was a junior in high school, and they offered me a football scholarship.
I became an Indians fan in the fall of 1953. My family had just moved from Chicago, where my dad was a great White Sox fan and my mom was a Cubs fan, and we moved there when my dad was transferred. And I didn't know much about the Indians, but I started listening to the games on the radio.
So a lot of lows. Really every year has been a low. I mean, since I've been alive, every year has had some horrible, heartbreaking moment. They're either terrible throughout, or they're good and find a way to break your heart by the end.
It means a lot. Ultimately it's where, for me, a lot of my memories, a lot of time in my life. It's where I played college football. It's tough. It just means a lot. I mean, where you go to college and where you're connected to and where your memories are, where a lot of your friends came from, pretty much a lot of your identity comes from, is pretty much where that comes from or as far as Oregon State is.
In my family, since the first time we moved to Cleveland, we had at least one radio in the house all the time tuned to the Indians game. We listened to every Indians game. We converted our parents to be Cleveland Indians fans. And I had 3 brothers and 3 sisters, and we were all diehard fans. And when we were in grade school, the Catholic schools, through the Indians, gave a set 2 tickets to every American League opponent, to any student who got straight A's in the last marking period in grade school, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Well, I never did that, but my sisters did, so I would be very nice to them in April and May in hopes of getting just a couple tickets to go to the game. But Indians have always meant a lot to me, and no matter how bad they've played, how badly or how well they've played, they've always been special to me and to my family.
Okay, well, the all-time highs as being a Jets fan, there's not many to choose from. Definitely the Rex Ryan years, which is 2009 and 2010. They went to the AFC Championship back-to-back years, so obviously that's a great moment and a terrific moment. But what makes it horrible is that they didn't reach the Super Bowl those years. So both AFC Championship losses would probably be pretty low moments, but those seasons in general were probably my favorite moments.
Favorite moments, I have a couple of them. One, I got to go to Bob Feller Day in 1956, and he was probably one of the top 3, if not the greatest right-handed pitcher of all time in the American League. And I had seen him pitch many times, and my dad had known him. And I knew Bob Feller fairly well after that until he died a few years ago. But watching him pitch and going to that game was one.
Least favorite moments. I don't think we have enough time. It's my least favorite moments basically come from a little bit of this year, a lot of the games that they played, having a lot of struggles with how bad they were doing without any idea that there was no idea of getting better. So basically it would come from the last few years of them losing and not having success, or not winning the games that they should win, getting blown out by teams that they shouldn't be blown out by. Really just bad memories of, all in all, watching Oregon State football over the last couple of years.
Well, I think the hardest one for me was in 1957, May 7th. I was lying on the living room floor. My grandpa, who took me to my first Indians game, was sitting on the couch, and the Indians were playing the Yankees. And Indians pitcher Herb Score was the rising star, left-hander in all of baseball. He'd won the Rookie of the Year the previous year, had won 21 games. Well, in that game, in the first inning, the Yankees shortstop, Gil McDougall, hit a line drive right back at him, and it hit him flush in the face. We thought he had died. The game stopped, but the ball had bounced so hard after the ball hit Herb that bounced to the third baseman, who threw McDougall out. But they rushed Herb Score to the hospital. A lot of the Yankees, including Gil McDougall and their manager, Yogi Berra, spent the whole night at the hospital with Score, and we really thought he had died or would never see or pitch again, but that was a very tough time for me.
I'll say this, I think the reason I'm happy I chose a team that doesn't win the Super Bowl every year. I mean, obviously it has its down, but when they eventually find a way to win a Super Bowl, that'll be like the best moment of my, sports fan life ever. I mean, just imagining it makes me happy. So of course I'm going to be a team with them and be a fan of them, and hopefully at some point they'll come through and win it. But I'll never leave them. And it sucks at times, but it definitely makes the losses make the wins that much better.